I just tweet. All right, y'all. Welcome to another one of these shows we've been having all year. Like I said, we're gonna continue to have them all year. We're just trying to educate and entertain y'all. So this is one of those shows where I won't be dropping something because I just really want y'all to focus in and be and listening to some of this content that we're gonna drop. But for those that know that I at random select somebody for a little cash gift or a giveaway, you hit that YouTube, go to my name. My name is my name. It won't never change. DeAndre Rudis. Subscribe, like, share, and then comment something that you learned by watching the video that you didn't know previously. And I'll be selecting you at random when we do one of those type of videos. Anyway, today we're going to focus all on the state of Black America and Black Chicago in general, particularly here on the west side of Chicago, where my guest and myself have been raised and I believe still live. You know what I mean? I know I live in Austin. I think you still live in Austin, but we're going to get to that anyway. No matter. That said, she has a background in African-American studies and sociology. So I thought, what better way during Black History Month to talk a little bit about some Black history, the culture, the progress, the movement, the people, and everything that's going on today. And again, Black America, Black Chicago. So with that, you know what I'm saying? I just want to introduce y'all to Bridget Harris Dubois. Person that I went to grammar school with, man, and just so happy to see is doing some amazing things in life and progressing well. And I still do believe still living on the west side. Is that true?
Yes, I am on the west side of Chicago, born and raised.
In Austin too?
Yep, in Austin.
Yeah, see, the best things come from Austin and the west side, period. So that's it. So Bridget, tell us a little bit about yourself, background and all that good stuff. Why sociology? Why African-American studies?
Well, growing up, I kind of had a strong roots in, I guess, Black culture. When I was younger, my mom and my sisters, well, my mama was a school teacher, and my sisters were the head of Black Student Union. So I would always go to a lot of those events, and, they would talk about Black culture, and we would experience Black culture in so many different ways. Via performance, community activism, things of that nature. So it kind of just stuck with me. That's what I was naturally interested in when I went off to college. Originally, I wanted to be like a doctor, OB gynecologist. That was my first track. But once I saw I was kind of struggling a little bit in that science and math, I just gravitated towards what came most natural to me. What was most common for me, or what I had already kind of had some experience or knowledge about, which was Black people, the state of Black people, what we're experiencing, transatlantic slave trade, all the different ways that we adapted and coped as a result of our experiences. And so that's kind of what just stuck with me. So just always, my background is more so like youth education, nonprofit programs, youth-led nonprofit organizations, things of that nature. So I really kind of have like a strong passion for like teens and youth and how we can create the change that we want to see in our people, and as far as our resources and everything that we want for our people to have, that we see that they are struggling with. Our goal is to make those improvements to make this world a better place for everybody.
Make this world a better place. Okay. Listen, I ain't gonna even waste no time. I'm gonna get straight into the first question. because I like the background, the activism, the advocacy, and especially standing up for our youth. That's something that I totally believe in. In fact, I went back to Austin High School after graduating and became a teacher, became a mentor in Austin, and did a few other things that it relates to trying to be involved with the youth and be one of those, I guess, strong Black role models that they could really look up to, male role models they could look up to. So that stated, there's a lot of things that's going on today in the city of Chicago and just across the nation with Black America. So having your background, your experience, your knowledge, and from what you gained throughout your education and just the involvement, from your perspective, what do you think is the state of Black America?
Well, I think currently the state of Black America, we kind of have a unique positioning. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of actually successful Black Americans that are kind of positioning themselves for success. A lot of them, many of them are educated. They do have degrees, masters, PhDs, bachelor degrees. Some of them have many degrees. Some of them are just overeducated, like what do you call it?
Yeah,
Like when you go for the job and you're overqualified for the
yeah,
job.
for sure.
I'm seeing a lot of them as well.
Mhm.
Some of them are thriving in corporate America. Some are kind of getting blackballed from corporate America. Like they're
Mhm.
not good enough. They don't fit. Um, I'm also seeing like a growth of more and more people are entrepreneurship. They're leaning towards entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
whatever their gifts or talents is, multiple streams of income. Um, and also, just like I said, we got a lot of degrees all over the place.
Mhm.
However, with the increase of like AI and more technology and stuff like that, it's like, no, even though we have a lot of degrees and we, have a lot of education, we're still somehow getting swept to the sidelines because a lot of these industries are not letting us in.
Mhm.
So it's like even though you have the background, you still can't get in. It's about who you
Mhm.
know. It's about um have you ever worked for a corporate company? Like like there's a big issue sometimes when switching from nonprofit work to corporate work.
Hmm.
Um so with a lot of that, sometimes it's like you can't get in, or if you come in, you have to go to the entry level jobs. You can't get to the executive level jobs. Even if you were in an executive position at a nonprofit, they're not going to always let you into an executive position in for profit.
Hmm. That's interesting. One of the things that you just touched on is, and the language around they not letting us in or these industries may be hard to get into leads me back to my own thought, which is, at this point, why are we still trying to be involved in a system that clearly was not designed for us? And why haven't we gotten to a space where we collectively come together and create our own industry? Because our culture is powerful, right? Everybody eats off the culture except for us, in various ways. And I can talk about that as we continue to have a conversation. But I do feel like we continue to try to be amongst folks that clearly don't want us amongst them unless we're doing work for them. So to that point, with all of this education we have, with all of this economic power we have, with all of this resilience that we've developed, and the culture which is phenomenal and overpowering, why don't we have industry, and why aren't we collectively putting all of those things that I just mentioned together and leading the charge for ourselves?
I think sometimes, I well, honestly, I think sometimes we haven't obtained enough success in our fields to feel that we're in a leadership position, or
Mhm.
that we should be in the leadership role of that industry. Like
Mhm.
where we are as far as the industry is not where the executives in corporate America are in the industry. So it's like we're much less experienced than they are. Also, they also have access to some systems that we don't have access to. So sometimes, in order to get access to those systems, sometimes you need one person that can straddle the fence and get with them to learn their tricks, to know what they're doing, to know how they're doing, and what systems they're using, and then we can bring it back to our
Right.
Black community, to our people,
Right.
because sometimes you have to pay your way to get into those systems as well.
That's
I
a fact.
noticed, like I was in the process trying to get into real estate. Well, I've been trying to get into real estate for quite a while, but that really is a system. You have to pay your way into that system. It's not like you got to pay for access to the resources. You got to pay for the easy systems. You have to pay for the ability to get investors to invest into you. You have to have a certain track record. You have to have the system and have everything organized, as far as like everything. For everything there's a system. For as far as like with real estate, for multifamily there's a system. For Airbnb there's a system. For what do you call it, single family homes, or fixing and flipping, wholesaling, that's a different system. So you basically have to be able to get on each track, each system. You have to know the different ways, the routes. You have to have everything has to be broken down. Like basically everybody has to provide a course in each aspect of the real estate. So it doesn't work as and until you get access to one of those systems, you won't really know what it's supposed to look like.
Facts. Agreed. That's
But
agreed.
I know what it looks like now because
Agreed.
I've gotten into those systems. But then it's like, okay, you need the people. But then sometimes it's like you want the people and you have access to things, but then it becomes sometimes you kind of afraid to work with the people that you know. Like, for instance, I have some people that I could possibly reach out to, but because of the dog eat dog world that we live in, where we're crabs in a
Capitalistic
bucket
society.
sometimes, capitalistic society, it's like people will take everything that you know. It's like almost, and I've been in this position myself, where it's like, here it is, you have something, and this is your baby, this is your project, this is what you're working on, and you're trying to get people to come into your thing to help you out. But what it ends up being is sometimes they go steal your idea and go work with somebody else on it. So then it's like, since y'all in the same network and know the same people, it's almost like y'all can't really, like, y'all stealing from each other when y'all could be building each other up and helping each other until you both get successful to the point that maybe eventually y'all can branch off. But it's like in the process of all of that, I think sometimes people lose hope.
Almost definitely. So
Because
one,
it's like, I have this, but then he kind of snaked me. So now you kind of scared to work with people. Before you know it, years and passed and you didn't do nothing.
So it's
And they
interesting.
might have started and they might have flopped too,
Right.
But they broke the relationship.
Right. I like this idea though of the spook that sat by the door analogy that you used about learning the systems, and I wholeheartedly agree, and I wholeheartedly believe in bringing it back to the people and making sure that the people are educated in ways that they don't really understand. And so I hope that at some point this particular format that I'm delivering content in could be useful for that type of purpose, but we'll see. To that
Another
end,
thing
though,
is, sometimes if you are the spectator, or you go into these big groups, it's like other people have also kind of had an idea of what you're trying to do, but because they went to some other um investing class, or that was held at a big convention or a big real estate workshops elsewhere, it's like, Well, I've seen bigger people doing bigger things than what he's trying to do. So instead of
Right,
following with
right,
them, I'm
right,
going to go follow with them instead.
right.
And
Now
there's
you're smelling
always one
yourself.
of those players that's much bigger and better than you.
I mean, so look, I'm about strategic development of where you're going to be in life. I wholeheartedly believe in that. I do recognize though that for our community that makes the role more difficult for us because like you said, as we try to navigate our own circumstance of just being black here and try to become
Professionals at
professional
whatever
and at a
industries we're
different and
in.
at a different level and grow and develop and all of those things, we neglect people that we feel are beneath us, and I do think that that's harmful to our social capital. I think that is one of the things that is preventing us from moving forward. I think not having the relationship equity, so to speak, built up keeps us from getting where we can be actually, so what are your thoughts about like where we are in terms of social capital, knowing that you've already experienced certain things as people, maybe taking the idea, not trying to work with you because somebody else is at a higher level than you, like what do you think about that, like our social capital, how is important is that to you, and how do you think that we're doing with developing social capital?
I think Black people are doing wonderful with developing social capital.
Mm,
Like, when you look at Black leaders,
mm,
we got, there's quite a few Black billionaires popping up, you
yeah.
know? So it's like when you think about how much money, when you go to a BET award ceremony, how much social capital is in that room?
Hmm.
How much social capital? I mean, it's like we have money. The money is there. The collectivity, the unity, and
Yeah.
sense of community is not where it's at as far as financial interests.
Hmm.
Sometimes you see more interest being in entertainment than you see in building, a bunch of
Industry,
high-rise buildings.
building industry, building
Or
our own
building
industry. Yeah,
industries.
building industry.
So it's like you can't make people put their money where they don't value it or where they don't feel
Right.
like at the end of the day, it's about profit. People are going to invest where they're going to make the most profit,
Right.
period.
Yeah.
And also, people also just want to invest in what their industry
You're
is, their
just in
personal
it.
industry.
Yeah.
Like, for
Yeah.
instance, you look
Interest.
at
Yeah.
somebody like Beyonce. The only thing you really see her on is entertainment based stuff. You don't really, I mean, she has a Be Good Foundation, um, and she has all of these other brands that she represents and things of that nature.
Right.
However, and she's starting her own businesses, clothing lines, beauty products, all of those kind of things.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's like she's not really in other industries. You're not going
Hmm.
to see her Beyonce at an education work,
Hmm.
trying to build new school systems.
Right.
You're not going to see her
Right.
trying to open up new grocery stores.
Yeah.
Even like Oprah. Like I ask myself, why haven't our Black people done more? But I mean, it's easy for you to say or look at what they did as if it wasn't much. But
Right. But they open
on the
doors
other
though.
hand, because they might be respond like, "What have you done? You haven't done anything either." So it's
Mhm.
like you're criticizing me, but what have you done? I
Right.
funded this many kids in
Right.
college tuition. HBCUs, like that's what they do. Well, like for
Right.
their philanthropy, they go
Right.
to fund whole
Classes.
classes,
Yeah.
graduation classes
Right.
for not for HBCUs.
Right.
But the thing is, you can't make people put their money where you want them to put it.
Right.
But what I would say is, what I would advise, like some of our rich, wealthy people,
Hmm.
that instead of find ways to duplicate themselves,
Right.
find ways, there's so many different ways for some of
Right.
our rich, healthy, famous people to do a lot more with the money and resources that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as helping the Black community um, achieve a lot more on a larger scale.
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage like the LeBron James, the Oprahs, the Jay-Z's, the Beyoncé's. I would advise them to duplicate themselves. What could
Agreed.
you do to duplicate yourself or to give yourself, let's say you created, each one of them created their own wing for different industries. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say LeBron set aside $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
He's a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's say they set aside 50 million, $100 million. What would happen if each one of them got, let's say, even started what do you call it? Like a pilot program
Mm-hmm.
for youth entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs or something. And they
Mm-hmm.
have maybe $10,000 in 10 different industries,
Mm-hmm.
$10 million in 10 different industries.
Mm-hmm.
And utilize that money not to build a big business, but just to start something small that's people oriented,
Mm-hmm.
where people can utilize. Oh, could you imagine? Let's say they got 10 different industries. These are big multi, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
10 different industries. So let's say one is health and beauty, one
Mm-hmm.
is grocery food and groceries,
Mm-hmm.
one is real estate. And just because they'll be surprised at how much they could do with that little capital that they decided to donate and
Mm-hmm.
how far it could stretch and how many people it could reach
Mm-hmm.
if they just adopted a small program under themselves, under a wing, and just get some virtual assistants to run it.
Right.
And
Interesting.
then and see how many people could be affected by just that little small amount.
Hmm.
I bet you it would challenge them to really think bigger
Right.
on a global scale as far as
Right.
how much I could help.
Yeah.
Because it don't even really cost. Like, I think sometimes people get pushed back because they want to think about how many people, because when you're talking about all these staff members and all this stuff
Mm-hmm.
can get expensive. But
Mm-hmm.
when you think about like being as resourceful as possible,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you might just hire one person and get them
Mm-hmm.
a $30,000-$40,000 salary.
Wait
But
a
they
minute.
working under Oprah, so they might be happy to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so, but then give them like a virtual assistant to help them
Mm-hmm.
carry out these tasks. Give
Mm-hmm.
them some AI components to make things automated.
Mm-hmm.
It don't cost that much. I'm telling you, it don't cost that much to do something small that could be to start something small that could
Yeah.
grow so big.
I think the argument there would be that we shouldn't depend on those folks. So let's just say, because they've made their money the way they're going to make it, and they're going to spend their money the way they're going to spend it, and they're going to grow their money the way they're going to grow it. And the collection of those billionaires shouldn't be responsible for the entirety of the Black community. But I do hear your point about the way that they should consider duplicating themselves, because they need to. There shouldn't be but a handful of Black billionaires in the country that's rich. So to that point, do you think that Black America is heading in a positive direction then?
I think it's heading in a positive direction,
Mm.
but with the switch over, I think a lot of Black people could get lost in the wind. With
Switch
the switch
over to
over
like
of the
AI tech?
AI, of the
Okay.
new
Right.
technology that's gonna replace so many different people, how many jobs could possibly be lost from it. Um, I think that and then with all the inflation and stuff like that, I think a lot of people are going to get lost in the wind with the
Yeah.
switch. It's like, for instance, it's like black people always seem like we're the last ones to get to everything.
Yeah,
When
that's because we are.
Amazon starts sparking up, Who got to it first? Probably white people, Asian people. Every other race got to it first, except black people. So it's like they're always the first ones to get access.
Yeah.
But it's really because their people started.
Mm-hmm.
And even in stuff that we do start, if it's successful, white people buy us out real fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now we're not even in control of our movement. It's like black people don't even own BET anymore.
Right.
It's like I'm not even sure if they own like Essence magazine anymore. Like all the top media black outlets
Right.
are no longer owned by black people.
Right.
They've been bought out.
Right. And then we
So
wonder why what's produced for us is damaging to our narrative because we don't own it. We don't own our image when we sell our products and
right,
services.
but at the same time, it's like the people at the top are thinking like, "Oh, we're about to get $150 million. I've never seen that amount of money in my life."
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
well,
like,
because we consistent with our support now, and especially out of pocket, like you said, whatever interests us, So
right,
if BET throw Baby Boy on for the 100th time, we might sit there and watch it for the 100th time.
right. But that's what I'm saying, though. It's like, how can we get to a point where we're creating, getting to the money, not just advancing, but maintaining
Right.
and climbing at the same time. We have to advance,
Mm.
maintain, and climb and keep going. We
Right.
can't just sell our soul soon somebody throws some money our way.
Facts.
Or
Facts.
or everything we build is going to crumble.
Right. Right. So Dr. Claude Anderson spoke about this sometime in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, in that America is on a color-based hierarchy. It goes white, then Asian, then Latino, and then black. So when you say we're last to get everything, and now looking at the influx of immigration, yeah. So I'm with you. I do think Black America is in a positive direction, but that could fall off on a very steep curve, considering, like you said, the advancements in technology and AI, as well as immigration, and just knowing that in terms of hierarchy, in the color hierarchy that is America, we are destined to be last. Our statistics in terms of what we will be able to afford in the very near future are dismal, and it makes you concerned for our future. That, and considering the fact that we typically terminate our pregnancies and get rid of our children larger than any group, the incarceration rates, uh, the uh, the crime rates because of living in proximity, all of those things, obviously health and everything else related, really leaves us in a dire strait, and we really need to focus up and try to right the ship, so to speak, because it may be going in one direction, but that thing is sinking, like for
You're
real.
right.
It really is. If we're gonna be honest, it's sinking.
I really personally think more black people. I know we're big on education, but I
Mhm.
think we need to get big on real estate. I think
Yeah,
because that's the number one industry. If you're going to be rich, that's where the most millionaires and billionaires are, in
okay.
real estate. So if
Yeah,
we don't get into real estate in some form, shape, or fashion, we're
yeah,
gonna always be behind.
yeah,
And if we don't also learn how to maximize our output with like AI,
yeah.
artificial
You
intelligence
got
of
to catch
some
up with that
sort,
for sure.
we have to catch up. We have to put these programs in our schools, like utilizing robots to make things to make sure everything is advanced
Right,
in our school systems and everything. Like we have to utilize it so that our kids don't get lost in the digital divide. Because
right.
like we not in a minute, we're not even gonna be able to go to McDonald's and order food if we
Yeah.
don't know how to operate. If we don't know how
Uh,
to operate computers and technology, we're not even gonna know how to order food.
Man, listen, and they already unveiled those concepts for cashierless restaurants. McDonald's already got the whole robot conveyor belt going already. They from beginning to end. So they have a few of those concepts, and very soon, within probably the next 10 years, I wouldn't assume at least half of Walmart, McDonald's will be replaced by those. So it's real and it's here. Um, I wanted to segue because you mentioned um, real estate ownership and home ownership and land ownership and all of that really comes with it. You didn't necessarily say those last two things, but that does come with understanding real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the most successful people have gotten there. The number one way has generally been through land acquisition in some way, shape, or form. And what I realize, and I'm sure you can see as well, is that there is a ton of folks that don't look like us that are purchasing up our buildings, our lots, our land, and everything else in between. And they are actually developing our community. So, to that point, what's your thoughts on gentrification? And do you think the West Side is being gentrified? And is that a problem to you?
I definitely think the West Side is being gentrified. But however, I've had a conversation with my alderman, and she's basically said everything needs gentrification because there's some good, there might be some bad, but there's more good with gentrification than bad.
Okay.
Like that's what she said.
Hmm.
Alderman Emma Mintz.
Hmm.
But at the same time, because I mean, everything old goes, and you out with the old, in with the new. So it's
Facts.
like you kind of got to keep up with the other communities, or yours is going to be far behind.
Right.
So if the other ones are growing and developing and getting new buildings and new housing structures and things of that nature, your area needs to be too, or it's going to be behind. And
Hmm.
people are going to be start moving out, and
Yeah.
all the investors going to start buying up stuff and buying you out, and
Hmm.
there's no going to be no option. So the
Hmm.
best way to do that is to actively participate in some way, shape, or form, and try to create boundaries or guidelines as to what you want your community to look like. So
Hmm.
if they're going to pay their money, okay, we'll let you do it in this community, but only if you agree to allow a certain number of jobs for African American residents that live
Hmm.
here.
Hmm.
Only if, let's say, you put in a what do you call it? A scaling system. So basically, like for your new employees, how long have you lived in a community? Do you own a home or rent a home? Um, are you educated? Do you have some college, or you know
Hmm.
you're like basically different systems to make sure that our people are the ones being employed, our
Hmm.
people are being utilized, so we know that they're not just going to throw away our people.
Yeah.
So
One of the
make sure
things,
our people are included in the process.
right.
That's the only way we can use your money, but you use our people.
I think so. To that end, when I ran, and I did run against Alderman Mitz in 2019, I was proposing a community benefits agreement. And, it's since there's been quite a few people that have spoke about it since then, and even before me. So it was not a unique and new concept. But basically, what you're speaking about is the opportunity for us to benefit when folks come into our community, like Amazon, for example. You're going to come into the community, at least 50% of the community should be from, of your workforce should be from the community. Help us develop a community center where we could learn robotics and AI and everything like that. And in a lot of ways, that could really help to potentially stabilize as well as grow, develop, and advance, as you mentioned, the community. But we still don't have anything in place. And as you know, when it comes to politics or anything similar, you have to get it in writing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's one of the things that we don't have. We don't have anything in writing that really helps to develop us. And the last thing I'll say is that when it comes to gentrification, I believe in the process of gentrifying. I am with the alderman. I agree that our community should be gentrifying, meaning the taste level should be raised. We should have coffee shops. We should have bike shops. We should have walkable streets. We should have tons of parks and gardens, and we should have beautification efforts that look like one of those rich suburbs that you would go to. And
like
I
Oak
just
Park or Bronzeville or
listen, I just
Hyde
know
Park.
that once you get to gentrification, that probably means that the folks that used to live there don't live there. So I'm for gentrifying. I'm against gentrification because I don't want to see us pushed out. Because I always ask the question, where will we go when we are pushed out? So, what are your thoughts about that? Where would Black people go if they are pushed out of the communities that they, fought for? We fought for the West Side of Chicago after white flight happened.
They'll go to other what I noticed in Austin. I noticed all the people from Humboldt Park, they came to Austin.
For sure.
So
For
our
sure.
people that are in Austin will go to a lower class neighborhood, maybe like a Inglewood or like a a lot of people out west are starting to move out south. So they would probably go to some of those communities on the south side, probably.
Okay.
Or maybe like some parts of East Garfield, but the lower parts, like the more rundown parts of East Garfield or West Garfield.
Interesting. So you did touch on Alderman Mitts. I talked about running against her at one point, and as you know, Alderman Mitts is a staunch Democrat. Like most of the city of Chicago, we are a blue city, generally surrounded by a red state. And so I don't know if you really.
She's a what Democrat?
She's a through and through. She's a Democrat.
Okay.
Basically, I forgot the word I just used, but yeah, it ain't no disrespect. It ain't no disrespectful word. It's just she's a Democrat. That's what she is. But I'm just saying, but Chicago itself is blue. Like if you're here and you're in politics, you're probably gonna be a Democrat of some sort. You know what I mean? Unless you're outside of Chicago and the majority of this state is red. So to that point, though, I don't know if you have kept up with some of the things that are unfolding with the immigration that is happening within the city of Chicago, the violence, now having Mayor Johnson in office. There has been a very loud call to move Chicago to red, especially Black Chicago, saying that the Democratic Party has not done enough for Black Americans, not only in Chicago, just in this country in general, and that Black Americans and Black Chicagoans alike have generally given their vote to the Democratic machine without really getting anything of substance and or value. So to that point, there is a push to turn Black Chicago red. What are your thoughts about that?
I think all of it is a trick.
Okay.
Because on one hand, I noticed, and I've listened to conversations, older men, older Black people saying things like, when Trump was in office, we got all these stimulus checks. We got, we were getting more money, and just I think they were excited about the temporary gains or the temporary highs that Republicans seem to be throwing out in our favor. And I even noticed that, some of our Black artists and things of that nature were pardoned from their sentences, their jail sentence, prison sentences, and things of that nature. I'm not sure what they called it, but they got out of jail from Donald Trump. He basically just let them out and they got out. But at the same time, we also have to notice everything that they give us, they systematically take away from us. And so even with those stimulus checks that we got during COVID and stuff like that, what happened immediately, it's like they gave us that to shut us up. And then what happens? They snatched the rug from under us real quick. Inflation on the rise. People did get COLA checks, cost of living wage adjustments and things of that nature. That was 8%. People were geeked about those checks. But at the same time, everything they gave us, they immediately stripped it from us. Like
Mhm.
everything went up. The
Oh man.
groceries went up.
Mhm.
You know, the cost of everything, insurance went up. So it's
Yeah.
like, did you really give us something? Or
Right.
did, or did you give us something to take our mind away or to make us think we had more than we actually had, just to get us used to this new system that you were putting into place all at the same
Mhm.
simultaneously? So you
Mhm.
knew that this little money that you threw us was going to get eaten up really fast.
I mean, look, it's interesting though because I know quite a few people that got those not only the stimmies but those PPP joints, boy, and they
PPP
was
loans,
living good, boy. Woo!
EIDL.
Got, the amount of lobsters and crabs and phantom riders that I saw,
But that was
and
a
it,
trick too,
yeah,
because now how many black businesses, people started black businesses to get those loans and now they're in debt.
right, man. Listen,
Because the
and when
people who
Biden got
didn't get
in,
those loans forgiven, or
look,
the people who got the EIDL, the grants and stuff like
right,
that, those have to be paid back.
right, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
When Biden
now you
came
got
in,
all these companies. They didn't really have a plan in place. They was just trying. Some people was just doing something to try to get some money.
yeah, trying to get a little
But
few dollars.
now they owe. Now IRS is snatching stuff. Now they lost
Man,
jobs.
listen,
Now, it's like some of them had state jobs, city jobs.
yeah,
Those people like lost their jobs behind
yeah,
this stuff. Then you also got the new cannabis stuff that they're pushing in. And it's like, yeah, it's legal, but there's so much red tape to having it. If
right,
you over here, you're getting locked up. If you over there, you might be okay. If you work here, you might be good. But if you work there, you're all getting fired. It's just like there's so, and then on top of that, we're not even talking about how insurance is working with this.
right,
Because how many people, you also have to know that with laws changing and stuff, people think that they have a right to do something. Now I'm entitled. I should be able to smoke weed whenever I want to. Well,
right.
you signed that life insurance policy last year or 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That law wasn't in place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you die tomorrow, and this is a large policy, and we don't want to pay it out, what can we do? We can not pay it out. Because why? You got weed in your system. You got marijuana, cannabis in your system. However, that's a drug, right?
Yeah,
When
still a drug.
I'm a licensed
Still a drug.
insurance agent as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so the reality is a lot of people can be paying paying monthly all their lives into these insurance policies, annuities, any type of financial products that they have.
Yeah.
But what happens when those laws conflict? Well, the law was um, enacted in this year, but you signed the policy this year. Now you have marijuana in your system or some type of whatever in your
That's
system.
kind of crazy.
Now, what's going to happen? Now we didn't use your money up until you turn 80, 90, 100 years old.
Yeah.
And now we're not paying this policy out
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
because you got cannabis in your system. And
Yeah,
so what you
insurance
gonna
is a
do?
scam
How
anyway.
much money did they make off of all your money? And now they only got to refund you the premiums that you paid.
Insurance is a scam, and I hate it, but I got it. You know what I mean? I got a family,
Now
so
we got more
hate it.
people to be honest with us
Hate it.
about them using cannabis.
Hate
Now
it.
they're going to their hospitals and they have it in their medical records that they use cannabis.
Right.
Now they're going to work and they put it on their application that they use cannabis.
I hear what you're saying.
Do you understand? It
I hear what
made
you're saying.
people comfortable telling the truth about something that they would use to lie about. But
Right.
now they're being honest about it, and it's going to
It's
bite
gonna
them
be
in the
used
butt
against it.
behind.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. The game is to be sold, not to be told, and it's devious. I always say white people cold because they give it and they take it away.
Yeah. Anything they give, they take it away. So at the
Oh
end of the
man.
day, as Black people, we really do have to be, just like Obama was straight and narrow. Everything we do, we have to be straight and narrow because we
Yeah.
don't know what they're gonna use against us later.
Yeah.
We have to be perfect
Yeah.
because anything they give us, they can take it away based on whatever little conditions that they find in our history, in our lifestyles, in anything that we're doing. They can set us up for failure.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
banking on thinking we good. Oh, this is the law. No, not when this person is behind you. Not when they don't want to pay you something. Now
Right.
they're going to use all of that stuff in your lifestyle as a way to take you out.
Yeah, I said, I think that brings us back around to this idea of us having to create our own industry and utilizing our collective power. That was the one thing that I really enjoyed about learning about the black experience pre-integration was how collective we were, how we had to band together to make things more just for ourselves. And when they weren't just, we did things to make sure that they understood how we felt and that they had to have a response in order for us to feel comfortable with being amongst them. You know what I mean? And now, and once we integrated, we got into this space where we are now, where we just continuously want to be accepted, and there's not a whole lot of collective action, and that's really depressing to me and disappointing. But so we right up at 8, and I like to, end class on time, but I like to do this. I want to give you the ISO screen, and whatever thoughts you like to share, um, information that you'd like to share, contact, whatever, however you want to do it, you can have this opportunity to do it. And I'm gonna go ahead and let you do that now.
Um, well, I'm currently in the process. My goal is to like open up my own real estate school. So, and to get more Black people involved into investing into real estate, um, both Airbnb, short-term leasing, multifamily homes, as well as single-family home fixing and flipping. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, trying to get together a platform for Black people to extend these opportunities to Black people to help. I'm not going to just say Black people. Anybody can help. But, just trying to find ways and avenues for people who might not have the resources or income to invest. How we can bootstrap together and start small for, a large gain. And so that everybody could take part in, that everybody can profit from. Um, and so you can contact me. My name is Bridget Harris Du Bois. I have a company called Create It Custom LLC. We currently have 3 different divisions. One is printing, real estate, and insurance. Give me a call, 773-619-6443, or you can email me at breharris2005@gmail.com.
Hey, appreciate you. So thank you so much, Bridget. I appreciate you. Again, it warms my heart to see members that I went to school with at such a young age doing some amazing things and still in the community and being active and being an advocate. And that is near and dear to my heart. Obviously, all we got is us. And it's gonna take folks like us that got educated and came back and are giving back to make sure that we in a better position. And that's the ultimate goal, lead the world better than you found it. And if we could do that amongst ourselves and our people, then, we did right. So again, I'd
Yeah.
like to thank you. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. And like I always like to say in closing, man, class dismissed.